Oh no.
What?
So you were just over there talking to somebody. Who were you talking to? So what? It wasn't me. Who was it?
I was talking to the bees.
Oh. Were you talking to the birds as well?
No.
So not the birds and the bees?
No, just the bees.
Okay, just the bees.
Well, one was like stuck in the water. And so I saved it and I said, don't do that to yourself, that's all.
And everybody wants to save the bees, so you're just being a part of that.
Exactly.
That's fair.
I wanted to drown.
All right. It is Saturday morning. It is the beginning of June here in 2021. Lori is taking the tractor back to the outbuilding. We just got the chickens' feed refilled. See a lot of water here during the summer. So the key, obviously, for us here in the summertime is making sure that everything survives the summer. And of course, we've got a few little critters that are doing just fine with that water, including quail, which we'll talk about probably a little bit later because they are munching on that sorghum that is growing amongst the other things in that old pig area. One other thing too, if you guys have been following us for a while, you know that we have something on the ground right there. They're not using those right now, but that is their little chicken pool. And during the days we've been over 100 degrees every day here for the last week. And so it's officially summer here in Arizona, even though it's not officially summer. But the thing with that is you'll see that those chickens in the afternoon, they're all standing in those baths. So they definitely like that extra water. It helps to keep them cool. Okay, so next project. So you guys are gonna see us working with our neighbors and continuing the fencing project, which is our summer project it's turning out. And what we need to do is we need to get the post cut. So that's what we're working on here this morning as our project. And fortunately, our neighbor's up nice and early this time. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. This area behind me here, that is our livestock acre. We're going to talk more about that as far as what we're going to do with that area. We've kind of changed our minds with kind of what we want to do, but you'll see we've got a level here, and what we're basically trying to accomplish, neither of us having done this before, is getting all of these posts level. So we want to make a straight line coming across, so there'll be a slightly different size as far as the fencing is concerned, but we want it to look nice and clean here at the top. And then what we will be doing is using field fencing for the actual fencing itself. But we are gonna have a top rail that's gonna be welded on each one of these posts. So what we're doing now, as you see with that level right there, is just making sure that we've got a straight line as we go across. And then of course, making sure that we have not too much of a gap for our fencing, because we want that to be consistent as well. So you're going to see Nate and I kind of fiddling around with this and trying to figure out how to get all these things cut at the right height here, hopefully this morning.
Okay.
How do you focus this?
The big knob on the right hand side.
Oh, this guy? 5 foot, 5 or so, just under.
That's what I got, 5 foot. I wrote down 5 foot 4 7/8. That gives us, this is actually damn near level.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Huh.
In the middle, it comes up a little bit, but that side I got 5 foot 4. This 5 foot 4 7/8, and then the middle was a little higher. And again, you know, the ground's up and down, but it was 5 foot 6 7/8.
Wow.
So there's a 2-inch difference from there to there, and from there to there. We can go straight level across this whole thing.
All right, so we measured this out, and from what we can tell, at least this side of the fence, we're basically even from one end to the next. There's about a 2-inch variance as we go across this, which is great news because that means we don't need to do a whole lot of adjustments in the height of the upright posts. So now we're gonna actually get to work on deciding how tall each one of these posts is gonna be and where to make our cuts.
All right, so Dwayne is over with Nate working on fencing. They're trying to get the measurements of where they need to cut down the posts. But he wanted me to give you guys an update on the old pig area that we did the cover crops on. And it's doing really good. The sorghum grass is doing really well. Of course, I heavily seeded it. But we are seeing a lot of quail come in here, and they are eating all of the, all the sunflowers that are coming up. They're eating those, and a lot of the cowpeas and some of the grass as well. But it's just really heavy seeded, so it's not as noticeable. So let me see if I can get a shot to show you guys how it's looking. In this area here, you can see that it's a pretty bare spot over here, and that's where we're seeing a lot of the activity of the quail, especially in this spot here, and they're just eating everything down to the wood chips. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll give you guys another update. Since Dwayne is working with Nate on the fencing, and they don't need my help over there, my options were to go inside and clean our house, which gets kind of pushed to the last thing all the time, and half the time doesn't get done. But our neighbor, Nate's wife, Tara, actually is starting to work on setting up some garden beds. So I'm gonna actually go over and help her instead of cleaning our house again. So that's where I'm headed. I'm over here helping Tara with her garden area, and just want to show you guys. So she has these rows set up, and has had to put netting over everything to try to keep stuff out. She's getting a little discouraged, just like we are, because of the ground squirrels, critters getting in. She's trying to block them off the best she can. She's got fencing around every row, netting, and they're still getting in. So she is actually having to change approach and do some raised garden beds. But today we're here and we're just gonna get it kind of cleaned up. She's been frustrated and hasn't come out and kept up on the weeding. So I'm gonna help her do the weeding, but let me just show you what she's got going here. Now, this is their temporary home because they are actually building, or hopefully soon building their house right next to us on the property that we share where we're doing the fencing. But she still wanted to have something in the ground, something growing her own food. So she has been working on this too over here, but she doesn't want to do any permanent fixtures because obviously this isn't a permanent home for her. So lots of challenges. So she has some rosemary, she's got some mint, some strawberries, some peppers, jalapenos, tomatoes, some Brussels sprouts on the side over here, and then some squash that we ended up leaving. And then everything else we pulled out, and also the weeds. Obviously, there was a lot of the weeds that we got out too.
To give you guys a quick update on what we've been working on. So we were able to get chalk line on all of these, measure out our heights, and the goal on this is these posts are going to be different heights, but will be level across the top because we have a longer 2-inch square post that's going to sit right on top of here, and we want that to be level as far as the sight line is concerned. So we have it set so that our highest point is 47 inches with the top of the top post. That way the field fencing will be flush there, and then we'll actually dig down into the ground where it's lower on this end. So the next thing we're gonna do, Nate is over grabbing his welder, and we did cut these down with my DeWalt circular saw, but that battery's not gonna last long cutting these metal posts with a diamond blade. So he's gonna grab a generator as well. We're gonna see whether or not we can get this post up onto these two today to at least have this fence started. So fingers crossed on that one. I'll tell you what, it's almost perfectly on it.
What do you think, boss?
What?
Yeah, how do you like that?
It's all those early morning calculations with two brains. So Nate was just kind of explaining what he's doing here. So there's actually a gap. On this side, he's got it filled in. Then what he's gonna do now is he's gonna go ahead and just kind of grind that flat so it's nice and flush and connects.
held between two pieces. Not the prettiest, which is not expected to be, but that's a solid weld.
You did it?
What the heck? We got the first section of fencing done. You can see I made my first two pieces of metal stick together, and it doesn't look all that attractive, but it's two pieces of metal together, so I'm gonna hang on to that. But you can see how this looks. We were really excited. I know Nate was really excited too, to see it be nice and level, and it looks pretty good. So what we're gonna try to do tomorrow is we're gonna try to get this whole side done here on the north side of this livestock acre that we've got going on back here. But it is getting warm today. So Lori and I are gonna go ahead and wrap this part of the day up and try to get a couple more things done before we head inside. We're gonna do a separate video on these beds, or I should say on the end caps of these beds. If you guys followed along and watched us install these, you know that we have a separate riser right here that we're gonna be utilizing for more perennial type crops that we're gonna be growing out here on these end caps. And we kind of kicked around back and forth on what we wanted to do as far as these end caps. And we're gonna be utilizing some of these bricks that you can get very inexpensively from Home Depot. These bricks, we've actually had these for a very, very long time. In fact, the very first thing we constructed on the old farm was a small fireplace, and we used these bricks to do it. Now, we never actually used adhesive to hold them together, so they were able to come to this farm with us, but we're gonna be utilizing bricks at least very similar to this in order to build these end caps. So what we wanna do today is we want to see how many bricks we're gonna need so that we can go ahead and get those ordered from Home Depot. What you got, sweetie?
Well, I was just kind of thinking, instead of doing it that way, can we do it to where we, like, do them this way? Or we won't be able to round it?
But yeah.
Will it work that way or no?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think so. The problem is gonna be that you got, well, yeah, I'm sure it will. That'll make the straight line. It's just a matter of how we want to curve it, you know? Mm-hmm. We want to make sure it curves by the time we hit here. And we got that. And then on the next one, you have to curve in.
I think that we should have it to where this curve, these longer sides are on the outside, because then it's not as much gap.
So this way. Like this. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. In there or no?
It's gonna. Yeah, and then our line is here, so we could go a little further out if we wanted to.
But do we want to? Because this is basically even with the T-post.
Oh, then we don't want to.
Yeah, because it's actually just slightly in front of the T-post.
I think this is gonna work. We know that we've got 25 bricks here. We've got a little gap on both sides, but we're not really too concerned about that. We have some other ideas as far as how we're gonna get these set up so that we can do our best to basically keep rabbits out of here, at least in the beginning. And I'm really not too sure I'm gonna use the adhesive. I think these are heavy enough for the light amount of soil that will be in here. And the soil has a tendency to kind of seal these a little bit as well. We've noticed that with the other bricks. So I think this is gonna work out well. And then of course what we need to do is get to Home Depot and load these by hand because they won't deliver this type of brick, unfortunately. One other thing I want to show you guys real quick that we wrapped up that we didn't get on video last week. To give you a shot of our winter beds, we went ahead and took most of what was in here out. You can see we left some of these are actually lettuce that are going to seed. We wanted to make sure we actually did have seed out of all these, so you'll see we got some purple lettuce there, a little bit of spinach down there, and then of course the regular green lettuce that's here. You can see the cowpeas are kind of hanging out in there and not doing so hot. I'm assuming because of the heat. We also left some carrots down there. Now when we did that, we basically just cut the tops off of all of the different crops that were still in here and left the roots in the ground. We want those to decompose, and then of course we're coming through here a few times a week and watering this, but the wood chips will help keep the moisture in there, and of course we're trying to create that soil biology. One last thing that we will come back here and do is add a little bit, kind of a light layer of chicken manure on here, and also our mix that you've seen in the second bed that we mix each week. That we mix eggshells and basically coffee grounds in. I'm gonna put some of that, a light sprinkling in each one of these beds as well, and then water that down into the soil to help build the life in the soil, because of course we're gonna be planting in this here in just a few months when the summer's done. We try to get done early as we can here during the summertime. You can see we still try to get as many projects done in the morning as we can. We've got this project here in the garden area, and we're also gonna be running irrigation to all these beds. Talked to George a little bit last night. Have some ideas as far as what we're gonna do with irrigation in these beds. We'll definitely show you in detail how we're gonna do that so you guys get some ideas as well. But we have live stream tonight, so we need to get kind of settled here, make sure that we're gonna be able to spend some time with you guys. You guys, of course, are seeing this tomorrow. Live stream was last night, so if we missed you this time, hopefully we'll see you guys next month. Really enjoy having you guys here each week, and if you have any questions or comments, down in the comment section down below. And as always, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you.
My options were to, hold on, my phone just went off.
I'll tell you what, I kind of want to saddle up to this with a horse and beer.
Yeah.
Or a whiskey, I guess.
Whiskey, yeah, get a whiskey.
All right, so we got the first section. So we got the first section of fishing.